I'd like to invite you to get curious about where it is you make your decisions from. And these decisions can be the decisions you make on a day-to-day basis, like what am I going to wear? What am I going to eat? Who do I want to spend time with? What am I going to do with my time? What am I going to watch on Netflix, right? And then we have bigger decisions that often lead more to change, like do I want to stay in this job? Is this relationship healthy for me or do I want to leave? Is this where I want to live or do I want to move? Right? So we have a full range of decisions that we make on a day-to-day basis. And my invitation is to get curious if you make those decisions based on simply knowing, or if you make those decisions based on your survival. So are your survival patterns getting in the way? Is your trauma getting in the way? Are expectations getting in the way? Right? And how do you start to distinguish the difference in between when it's more from a place of survival versus when it's more from a place of knowing? Now, to be fair, this can be confusing and it can be hard to navigate and understand and really know, especially if you're not used to really weeding apart what it means to be in survival and what it means to even be making decisions from that place. And this access to deeper knowing might not be something that's familiar to you. So this is the opportunity for you to get curious, because ultimately it's through awareness and curiosity that we can really start to unravel who we are, what we're doing, how we're showing up in the world. So keep that in mind. Now, let's talk a little bit about the differences, because when you start to recognize, they actually do feel very different in the body. And that's my jam, is really paying attention to the language of the body and how our body is showing up in the things we do, and to start to distinguish when something is more a survival pattern that's getting in our way or protecting us and has purpose, or how we know we're starting to really get access to this deeper knowing or our truth or our authenticity and starting to show up from that place. So when you're making a decision, there's room for you to get curious and inquire. So let's start with something small, because those big decisions, obviously, there's a lot more involved in them. And what I'm going to invite you to do is the next time you go get dressed is to inquire, am I making a decision here on what to wear from a place where I just know what I want to wear, or is there some other stuff involved in that? When we just know, things are usually pretty clear. Things are pretty obvious in a way, and there isn't much volume to it. There's just this knowing, yep, this is what I'm going to wear today. When there's some volume to it, or it has some attitude, or it has some personality, or there's some reasoning with it, usually it's coming from a different place. So for example, if I'm looking at my clothes and I really want to look good when going out, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look good, but notice the flavor behind it. If there's this flavor of wanting to be seen, wanting to be heard, wanting to be witnessed, or the opposite, what I'm going to wear is going to allow me to hide. Actually, it's going to keep me small. It's going to make sure that I don't stand out. That can be something to inquire about, like, oh, interesting, I like to wear these things that make me stand out because I want to be seen. Again, nothing wrong with that. We're just paying attention to how we make the decision, I want to be seen. Or, oh, I'm making the decision of I want to kind of hide a little. Or I want to be comfortable. Or I want to look sexy, right? What is the underlying tone behind what you're choosing to wear? And just to inquire about that. There's no right or wrong here. There's just information. That's what we want to gather, is information. How do I show up in my day-to-day? How do I make decisions? When I'm making a decision more of dressing from a place of just knowing, there is no real tone to it. There's no reason to what I'm wearing. There's just a knowing that that's what I want to wear today. So it's different. So start with that. Then let's talk bigger decisions, because this can be a little messier. I'm going to use something that's there for me often, which a dream of mine, and I don't want to even call it a dream, something I look forward to one day doing in my life, is living out of a van part-time. So spending months at a time on the road, working from the road, and also being able to see a lot of this country from the road, and hopefully other countries as well when borders open again. What often arises for me when things are difficult in my day-to-day life is this urge to want to do it now. So, what's the quality behind the decision of wanting to buy a van and get this happening now? There's this urgency to it, and it's because what I am working with right now in my life doesn't feel comfortable, or it's too much, or I'm not feeling flow, or I'm not feeling like the world's got my back, and I just want to escape. I want to escape and get in the van and go, right? That's very different if I were to make my decision from that place. Like, life is difficult. This is too much. This is the easier option. I want to get the hell out of here. Versus if I made the decision and bought the van from a place of knowing that that was the next step for me. Again, the quality behind it is there's some baggage to my decision of wanting to get in the van and go. There's this escape feel. Often what also comes with that is the feeling that something is going to be easier if I make that decision, or it's kind of like dreamy, or it's more of an illusion, right? It's like, oh, if I move, things are going to be better for me, right? Often that can be a sign that there's something there to inquire about. Again, not a right or wrong. You can still go ahead and do it, but notice the pattern, because chances are it'll show up again when something's difficult. It's like, boom, I want to get the hell out of here because that's going to be easier, right? If I stay and notice there's a discomfort there, there's something to inquire about, there's this information that I can learn more about myself and notice, why is this difficult and why do I want to run, then I get to do some healing instead of continue down the same pattern of like escaping that which is uncomfortable. So that is one way that we can often make decisions, is escaping what is uncomfortable and moving towards what is familiar or seems easier or safer. Now, I'm using the example of escaping that which is difficult, but sometimes we stay in something that isn't necessarily appropriate for us, yet there's a comfort in it. So sometimes we stay because leaving feels too scary. There might be an underlying knowing, like, I need to leave this relationship, I need to leave this job, I need to leave this town, I need to leave. There's a clear sense of knowing there's something next for me. I can't explain it. There's just this deeper knowing. There's more of a less reason behind it. Just, I know I need to do it. Yet I can't, because leaving feels scary. And where I am or how I'm living my life or who I'm with feels safe, even though it's not right. Comfortable, even though it's not allowing me to thrive and grow. So that's another thing to inquire about is, are you making your decisions to, for example, stay because it feels scarier to leave? And this is how I want to kind of sign off here with these invitations, is to notice that when there's a deeper knowing, there's usually just a knowing. There's not much more to it other than I just know that's what I need to do, but I don't know why. Versus if there's some baggage to it, if there's some attitude to it, if there's some ultimately some ease or like an escape to it, inquire. If there's a sense of not being able to follow the knowing and staying because that feels more comfortable and safe, inquire. All these are ways for you to get to know yourself more and become clearer on, when is this, I'm calling it baggage today for whatever reason, when is this baggage interrupting me making decisions or influencing my decisions, versus when is it my inner knowing speaking. Now, one last thing I want to say to this is that when the knowing is speaking, it doesn't mean it's easy. Okay? So just because I know I want to, For example, right now I'm going through some transitions with one of my programs. I know things need to change in how I want to show it out to the world or present it to the world or offer it to the world. I know that. But that doesn't mean it's going to be this easy transition. There's work involved. There's steps involved that definitely might bring up fear, might bring up hesitation, right? But there's something that is in me that knows and just drives me forward. And if I don't follow that, it just feels wrong. So know that knowing that you know something needs to change is valid. And if it is hard, if it's difficult, if you meet resistance, it's understandable. It's usually all these protective pieces trying to stop you from doing that which is unknown. So get uncomfortable, get curious, and just start unraveling your own experience. Start to be able to differentiate and distinguish how it is you are making decisions, how it is you are choosing to show up in this world, and how it is you have opportunity to do something different. All right, I hope that invites some really fun explorations. Please feel free to reach out or share with me what happens or what you decide to do or what you have a knowing about but are afraid to take action on, or what patterns you discover about yourself because those patterns are keeping you safe and keeping you protected, or are your survival patterns that help you get the hell away from something that is uncomfortable. Right? There's lots to inquire about in this, and I hope that this video offers some insights and helps you in those explorations.